Welcome to the first episode of our new podcast, Once Upon a Crime. In this episode, we will investigate how the romanticization of crime through hip-hop influences American youth in both positive and negative ways. I am your host, Tyler Yang, accompanied by Trip Gibson, Peter Shi, and Jason Feng. Our first speaker is Peter Shi. Sensei Shi, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having us. I want to start by explaining what the problem is. Crime has always been a problem throughout history. However, recently with the rise in the media, criminal activities have been seen to be reported at a higher rate now than ever. Specifically, musical media like rap has been on the rise. It is currently the second most popular genre of music behind pop in terms of Billboard plays. In addition, rap has also spiked in the years leading up to 2016, while pop has been on a decline. Because rap is the genre where criminal activity is most prevalent, this is an example of a media outlet gaining popularity due to illegal content that it promotes. With this comes power in the media. The ability to twist and fabricate parts of crime can have serious consequences.
These consequences disproportionately affect minorities and those in poor areas. Factors that increase vulnerability of certain demographic groups when exposed to the portrayal of crime in artistic media include early exposure to family violence. Often, individuals lacking effective social bonds with parental figures teaching them control can lack the basic fundamentals of morality and a figure of embodiment. When they're raised in poor and disorganized neighborhoods with the presence of gangs and legal markets of drug distribution, the additional lack of employment opportunities can turn individuals to committing acts of violence out of desperation.
I agree, and some of these consequences have already been addressed in scholarly articles. For example, in The Whole Truth by Megan Boersma, quote, "With the rise of modern crime documentaries, series, and podcasts, which tend to twist the facts of horrific crimes, growing doubt is being cast on the criminal justice system through the portrayal of injustice. Therefore, to a great extent, rap affects the perception of crime among all American youth. Rap romanticizes crime to the youth despite providing strong economic opportunities. Commodifying serious topics like violent crime through music desensitizes listeners to the reality of violent crime. Real people with families and lives become reduced to catchy refrains."
The historic relationship between street gangs and hip-hop music dates back to the birth of the genre. Numerous hip-hop artists have had or continue to have a close association with prominent street gangs, and a smaller number of artists have acknowledged they were once gang members. Drill is known for its hypermasculine, overtly violent content. Drill artists often make explicit reference to unsolved murders, and direct threats to other artists are also very common. To take all such content literally ignores the complex realities. The lyricism references specific acts of violence, often misunderstood by individuals who enjoy the music but aren't connected to the street culture. As a result, the reality of the crimes referenced in the lyrics is diluted in severity of perception. While the popularity of such music grows, the truth gets masked further and further, often at the expense of individuals affected by these acts of violence and enjoyment of capitalist consumers. On my left is football pundit Big Tonka T.
Thank you. And I agree with your point, but this lyricism is most likely to happen at a young age, as rap has the ability to change the youth's perception of crime due to the lyrics used by the artist. Christian Braglin, a student scholar of Florida State University, does a study as to how music can alter the social life of a person. He discusses how parents of teenagers want to censor explicit lyrics found in songs in order to protect their perception of the world, as children can be influenced to commit crimes based off lyrics of a song. For example, Murder on My Mind by YNW Melly contains explicit lyrics that describe gruesome events of a murder, and Raglan implies after hearing these events, teenagers are more inclined to carry out these actions described by these lyrics.
Though the negative consequences of rap music are highly debated, for example in the effects of violence for youth caused by YNW Melly's song, the positives of hip-hop are often neglected. The rise of hip-hop as a genre has brought immense economic opportunities for historically underprivileged demographic. Numerous young rappers have prospered by writing lyrics about crime. This is rooted in the history of hip-hop, as history was born in large cities hit hard by the trickle-down economics implemented by Reagan-era policies. According to Clarence Lucen, a political science PhD and associate professor at American University, quote, "In a period when black labor was in low demand, if one could not shoot a basketball like Michael Jordan, then the entertainment industry was one of the few legal avenues, end quote, available for young men to earn a living. The strongest advantage of hip-hop as a genre is its low startup costs. Becoming a rapper requires little investment other than boldness and a competitive edge," according to Lucen. The rise of rap opened new economic opportunities to young black men in advertising for the alcohol, sneaker, hat, and film industries. As a result, by the 1990s, rap music earned $600 million in annual revenue.
And that's a great point, Tyler. Furthermore, as Beckwith found, hip-hop has become even more popular since the 90s. The number of hip-hop songs on the Billboard Top 100 charts has sharply increased in the recent decades, which shows how hip-hop is becoming more mainstream. As hip-hop becomes a mainstream music genre, young children, Even those who weren't raised around crime will be incentivized to write rap music that speaks about crime in order to succeed in this hip hop industry.
I can see where you're coming from, but I believe that despite the economic benefits for a small portion of the community, in the end, more harm is brought to the community than help. As the genre of hip-hop music grows, so too does the violence referenced in hip-hop music. The popularity of such violence becomes an embodiment or a symbol of pride for many minorities already living in a crime and poverty-afflicted areas. Expressive forms of interpersonal violence within marginalized communities are being wrongly articulated by the media, and the violence within artistic forms of media like drill music are exacerbated within a capitalist consumer culture, ultimately leading to a diluted perception of violent crime. Drill music is especially popular among the younger, displaced population as it addresses simplistic, proximal issues with the lyrical content of some artists, including references, again, to unsolved murders and other acts of extreme gang-related violence. This serves as an exemplifier of special liberty being in action in conjunction with consumer culture.
Therefore, in conclusion, the romanticization of violent crime through rap music has an overall negative impact on society. By diluting the seriousness of violent crime, rap music desensitizes the youth to horrific behaviors. However, the economic opportunities provided by rap cannot be overlooked. Sadly, even with such economic prosperity, rap music serves to commercialize crime at the cost of communities. Violence sells. This is evident in the number of Billboard Hot 100 songs and the popularity of songs like Murder on My Mind by YNW Melly. While it may be tempting to suggest censoring violent lyrics in music, this solution is ineffective due to the openness of the internet and the accessibility of music to young people. Next week, we will discuss other potential solutions to preserve the history and culture behind hip-hop while expressing the severity of violent crime.
Thank you for having us.